In the beginning, when I first announced my campaign, we received substantiated stories about people who supported my campaign in one way or another being told that they should not and could not support my bid to become mayor of the city of Buffalo. At that time, I informed my campaign team that if any further reports of such intimidation should surface, I wanted to know immediately and would do whatever it took to make sure that people who want to support me and my campaign to become mayor can do so safely and without worry. So recently, we received information that suggests retribution were being made, that there were suggestions of retribution being made against individuals who were part of our Taking It to the Streets campaign. I made the immediate decision to continue telling the story of Byron Brown's Buffalo that absolutely need to be told, while at the same time protecting the identities of the people who were brave enough to step forward and tell me about community and neighborhood disasters that they were enduring. I will not reveal those involved in any of these reports, and I will not risk any of the people who have been interviewed this week in our Taking It to the Streets campaign. What I will address is the work that has finally begun here on Tracy Street and the work that still needs to be done on other streets and neighborhoods in the city of Buffalo. I have said all along that government exists to serve the people and not the politicians. In my administration, job number one will be to serve the citizens of this great city of ours. The Brown administration has lost its way, and I'm running so that we can take back our government and set new direction that combats inequality and rebuilds our neighborhoods. We want neighborhoods where families can live, work, and raise their children. I stand with the people of Buffalo and pledge to run a government that they can be proud of. My administration will not have a component that rules by fear or intimidation or retaliation. People will be free to do the things they need to do to make their lives better without worrying about a knock on the door saying that you're no longer going to be considered a favorite. That's the way government should be run. That's the way I will run government. You don't have to donate to my campaign to be considered a valued citizen or a valued person in this community. Your value rests in the fact that you're a citizen of Buffalo, and like me, you're proud of the place that you live and you want to see it better. Just 2 days ago, we were here in front of this house and around the corner in front of a bodega, and we talked about some of the conditions that exist here in this area. Less than 48 hours later, the city has been out, and inspectors have been out looking at the area, and there have been pledges that this place is going to be taken care of. At that time, we talked with a young lady who lives just next door and has been brave enough to continue talking about the issues that impact her neighborhood. And I'm going to ask her if she just wants to just say a few words about what we saw here a couple days ago and what's taking place now in this area.
Well, I want to, speaking on behalf of the West Village residents, I want to thank you wholeheartedly, because I don't think it's any coincidence that your video came out yesterday and was posted on Facebook, and the owners of the property were here today with contractors and plans and promises to have progress within the next 3 months on this property. And I don't think it's any coincidence at all that you're Taking It to the Streets initiative sparked this. And I want to thank you wholeheartedly. And the only other thing I could wish is that they would have cut the grass while they were here and picked up the garbage.
What's your name?
My name is Nancy Standish.
How do you spell your last name, Nancy?
Standish. Thank you.
So we're going to continue with our efforts and our campaign to show citizens of Buffalo what Byron Brown's Buffalo looks like. We're going to draw a contrast to what we feel Buffalo should look like. And we're not going to stop. We're not going to be intimidated, but we will take every step, every measure we can to protect the people who've been willing to talk to us, because it's not fair that they should suffer because they're willing to talk about situations in their neighborhoods that are not conducive to a good quality of life. I applaud them for that, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that they can continue telling their story, and we're going to get those stories out. Thank you.
Mr. Tolbert, what are you going to do to, you say you're going to protect the people who come forward and support your campaign. How are you going to protect them?
Well, in terms of people who've been talking to us about situations here in the neighborhoods, we're going to make sure that we don't reveal their identities or put their faces in our video or their addresses, things like that. We'll do that. As far as others who've said they want to support my campaign, I've heard stories from the very beginning that people have said to me, I want to help you, but I've been told I can or shouldn't. You know, what I will do to those individuals, let them know that we will do everything possible to ensure that we keep their situations such that they don't suffer anything. But they have to make those decisions for themselves. If people are afraid to stand up, then there's nothing I can do that would allow them to come out. But what I would offer to people is that if you're tired of what's going on, if you're tired of business as usual, if you're tired of a government that is not responsive to your needs, a government that requires you to pay in order to get services or to get preferred services, then you need to stand up and say something and vote for a better choice for Buffalo. We can make things different, we can make things better, but people have to be willing to stand up.
Have citizens alleged that there was voter intimidation from the Brown campaign?
We've been told by individuals that they have been contacted and told they should not be a part of my campaign. Call it intimidation, call it what you want. I just repeat what we are being told by individuals.
As a former federal law enforcement person, what are you doing to look into that? I mean, it was your job to look into corruption like that when you were an FBI agent. Do you see anything that you might be able to push on to law enforcement?
Well, certainly if we are given concrete, specific information that suggests that violations of law are taking place, we will surely refer that to the proper law enforcement authorities.
Bernier, are you accusing the Brown campaign of intimidation or not?
What I'm saying is that people have told us that they have been contacted by the Brown administration and have been advised that they should not be a part of helping me in my campaign.
Are there specific members within the Brown administration that they referred to?
I'm not prepared to, I don't want to go forward unless I have full, complete facts. At this point, I'm not prepared to talk about any individuals within the Brown administration. It's usually that I've gotten a call from City Hall. I've gotten a call from someone who works in City Hall.
Have any incidents been reported to the police that you know of?
Not that I'm aware of.
Do you feel like you, by not doing these take it to the streets anymore, that you're sort of getting into intimidation?
No. You mistook what I said. We are still going to do the taking it to the streets. But what we're going to do is make sure we take steps to protect the identity of those who are willing to come forward and say something. We don't want to unfairly put them at risk.
This morning there were, or not this morning, but in the last few days there was a commercial released by the Brown campaign, and in his commercial he says, "Well, I put $1.7 billion into the community, brought down 4,600 vacant buildings." And during a press conference this morning, he actually said, "Well, you have not been in Buffalo for that long again for the second time around," and said you don't really know Buffalo. What's your response to that?
My response is, quite frankly, I've been out every day talking to people and listening to people, and I would suggest it's Byron Brown that's not listening and does not know Buffalo. During that time when I was working, I continued to be in Buffalo as often as possible. While I may have been working in other cities, Buffalo has always been my home. I've always been here. I've been involved. I've been involved with a number of community organizations, and that has in no way deterred my ability to know what's happening in my hometown. I have roots here. I talk to people all the time. I know what's happening in Buffalo. And more than that, people are telling me that things aren't right in Buffalo, and I hear it.
Do you recommend that if a citizen of Buffalo is intimidated by City Hall, the Brown campaign, that they should go to law enforcement, either Buffalo Police or FBI?
Absolutely. I would say citizens of Buffalo who are intimidated by anyone should certainly report that to the proper authorities. And if they need help with that, they can come to me, and I will help to direct them to the proper authorities.
No, no. I'm here strictly because of the property and hopefully the progress of the property.
What was it like? Did you have to go through City Hall to try to get results, and what did you encounter?
Well, when I first moved in, it was closed, and then they opened it back up. And as I told Mr. Tolbert a couple days ago, it was a boarding house, crack house. And I went through City Hall, through the councilman, a couple of them, and through the mayor's office and the inspector's office to report all the violations, the drug dealings, everything that was going on. And they eventually came in and closed it down. Their response, it took a little while because they had to get proof, obviously, but they did get it closed down. And the problems now have been the owners. They haven't done anything with the property. It has sat vacant for approximately 6 years now. And that's not good for any neighborhood. It's not good for the property values. It isn't good for the insurance policies. It isn't good for the school across the street. It's just a blight on the community. If they can't rehab it and make it, an occupiable property, then yes, tear it down. And I suggested the other day, build a community garden. Let's do something that gives back to the area.
Just walking into this press conference, it seems like Mr. Tolbert made a video about this property, and then this past couple of days, it's like a fire was lit under somebody's butt, and
Yes.
everything was taken care of.
Absolutely. Not everything taken care of. Movement has been made. The owners were here with, their contractor. They walked through the building, they walked around the property, and I spoke with them, and they assured me that there is going to be progress on this property.
Mr. Tolbert, have you seen similar results in other videos that you've made? And I know you posted that new website. Is action being taken on those items as well?
At this point, I don't know that there's been action taken. We've continued to talk with different people in different neighborhoods. We were out today talking with an individual who has a story that just tears your heart out. And I certainly hope that there's something that's going to happen there, even if it's prompted by my exposing it. If that's what gets the job done, then good for the people who live there, because this particular woman we spoke with today deserves a better situation than she's in now.
Bernie, what's the implication of talking about potential ground contamination? You seem a little hesitant to do it. Why did you feel the need to do it? What's the implication of doing it?
Well, what we want to do is send a message that we're not going to stand idly by if that happens. If people bring specifics to us, we're going to talk about. We're going to put it out there and take it to the proper authorities and let them deal with it. As I said, from the beginning of my campaign, I've been told by people that I can't help you because of fill in the blank. But part of that is that's politics, and I'm not complaining about politics. That's the way things work. But I think there's a line that you cross, and that line is when you start to intimidate people into making choices that they would normally want to make. You can suggest to someone that you may not think something, but when you start to put it in the form of intimidation and threats, then it becomes more serious.
Have you heard enough specifics that you're comfortable putting this out here today?
Yes, I am.
Is there any other steps you're taking?
Well, at this point, we're going to assess everything, and we'll make some decisions as to what we should do further.